Walk into a Rolex store today. You will find something strange. Empty display cases, not one or two gaps. Display cases with almost nothing in them. The most recognizable watch brand on Earth, selling almost nothing from its own shelves. Ask for a Submariner. Not available? Ask for a Daytona. The waitlist is 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. For a watch in production right now. In factories that run every single day. Here is what that empty case actually is. It is not a supply problem, it is a production decision. Rolex made 1.17 million watches in 2024. The factories could produce significantly more. Rolex chose not to. And the reason is the most interesting business decision any company has made in the last 50 years. That empty case is not a failure of manufacturing, it is the product. And understanding why requires understanding what Rolex actually sells, because it is not a watch. Rolex is the most dominant watch company in history. In 2024, it generated 10.5 billion Swiss francs in revenue. It holds 32% of the entire global luxury watch market. It outsells the next 5 brands combined: Omega, Cartier, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Longines, all of them together. And in 2024, it deliberately made fewer watches than the year before. Not because demand fell, because Rolex decided fewer watches at a higher price was better than more watches at the previous price. The average retail price in 2021 was 11,500 Swiss francs. By 2024, it was 13,140 Swiss francs. Not because the watch changed, because Rolex decided it was worth more. Every other company on Earth wants to make more. Rolex made fewer. Fewer units means more desire. The waiting list grows. Every watch on it becomes more valuable before the buyer even receives it. The scarcity is not a problem Rolex is trying to solve. The scarcity is the strategy Rolex is trying to protect. And it has been protecting it so successfully that it created something no other manufacturer has built. A product that becomes more valuable the moment Rolex stops making it available. But here is what that strategy also created. The part nobody expected. Rolex built a $6 billion market last year and collected none of it. Pre-owned Rolex watches generated $6 to $7 billion on the secondary market in 2025. Gray market dealers, online platforms, auction houses. Every dollar went to someone else, not to Rolex. Rolex engineered that market entirely. The production restraint, the waiting list, the empty display case. All of it created a gap between what a watch costs new and what someone will pay to skip the queue. Rolex created the gap and collected nothing from it. A Submariner retailing at £8,000 sold on the secondary market for £12,000 to £15,000. A Daytona retailing at £12,000 sold for £20,000 to £30,000. That difference went to whoever sold the watch, not to the company whose name is on the dial. Rolex built the most valuable pre-owned watch market in the world and did not participate in it until 2023, when Rolex made a move nobody in the watch industry saw coming. In August 2023, Rolex purchased Bucherer. Bucherer is the largest watch retailer in Europe. Over 100 stores across Switzerland, Germany, the UK, the US, France, Denmark, and Austria. It owns Tourneau, the largest watch retail chain in America. Bucherer had been selling Rolex watches since 1924. 100 years of partnership. And for every one of those years, Bucherer collected the retail margin on every Rolex it sold. Rolex spent a century watching that margin go to someone else. In 2022, it launched the Certified Pre-Owned program. Authenticated pre-owned watches sold through authorized dealers, each one certified by Rolex's own workshops. A CPO Rolex sells for approximately 30% more than a non-certified example. That premium stays with the dealer. Rolex earns the service fee. So in 2023, Rolex bought Bucherer. Not for the Karl F. Bucherer watch brand that came with it. Rolex shut that down almost immediately. For the 100 stores. For the ability to finally sit on the other side of the counter. Bucherer accounted for approximately 8% of Rolex's total revenue as a standalone retailer. Inside the Rolex Group, that margin now flows directly to Rolex. The acquisition was announced as the preservation of a historic partnership. The owner had no direct heirs. Both of those things are true. And so is this. Rolex spent a century giving away its own retail margin, then quietly bought it back. But none of that explains the most fundamental thing about this company, the thing that made all of the above possible. Who actually owns Rolex? Rolex is owned by a charity, not a private equity firm, not a family, not shareholders, a charitable foundation. Hans Wilsdorf founded Rolex in London in 1905. In 1945, after his wife died, and with no children to inherit, he transferred complete ownership to the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. He died in 1960. The foundation has owned 100% of Rolex ever since. No shareholders, no dividends, no stock market pressure to produce more and grow faster. And that is exactly why the display case is empty. Every publicly traded luxury brand faces the same pressure. Shareholders want growth. Growth means more units. More units means less scarcity. Less scarcity means the waiting list disappears. And the waiting list disappearing means the brand loses the only thing that makes it worth waiting for. Rolex does not have that pressure. The foundation owns it. The foundation answers to no one. Which brings us back to the store, and to the part they never put on the label. You walked in wanting a Submariner. They told you it was not available. But here is what else they told you. To improve your chances, build a purchase history at this specific store. Buy a strap, a box, a leather accessory. Come back regularly. Demonstrate loyalty to the brand before it demonstrates any to you. This is documented, openly discussed, widely understood. The watches most in demand go first to customers with the strongest purchase histories. To buy what you want at retail, you often need to first spend thousands on things you did not want. The watch is not for sale. The watch is the reward for everything else you bought. And then there is the pre-owned layer. You build the history. You get offered the Submariner. You buy it. 2 years later, you trade up. You bring it back to the dealer. The dealer buys it from you, sends it to Rolex for certification, pays the service fee, gets it back with a CPO seal, sells it for significantly more than they paid you. You got the trade-in value. Rolex got the service fee. The dealer got the premium. The same watch generated revenue 3 separate times. Rolex participated in the first transaction. After that, the business ran around it. Step back from any individual watch. A company making fewer watches each year by choice, because the waiting list is the product, and the waiting list requires scarcity. A secondary market generating billions, built by that scarcity, funded entirely by everyone except the company that engineered it. A retail network that collected the margin for a century before Rolex purchased it. A CPO program earning service fees while dealers collect the premium. And a charitable foundation removing every external pressure to fill the display case. This is not a watchmaker. This is a scarcity engine that makes watches as the mechanism for creating desire. The watch is not the product. The weight is. And the weight only exists because a foundation in Geneva has spent 80 years refusing the most tempting decision in manufacturing. Make more. They refused. The result is a company worth an estimated $80 to $100 billion, owned by a charity, answering to no one, while the display case stays empty and the list stays long. So go back to that store. The empty case, the sales associate, the waitlist. You thought you were looking at a supply problem. You were looking at the most deliberately engineered shortage in the history of consumer goods, protected by a foundation with no obligation to fill it, by a strategy that reduced output despite growing demand, by a retail network purchased to capture the margin that had leaked for a century. The watch you want is available right now, on a gray market platform, at a premium above what retail would have cost if you had waited long enough and spent enough first. That premium is the price of the wait, and the wait is what makes the watch worth wearing. Rolex does not sell you a watch. It sells you the proof that you were patient enough, connected enough, and serious enough to get one. And it has built a structure ensuring that proof stays difficult to obtain for as long as the foundation keeps the display case empty. Which If the last 80 years are any guide, is forever. This is the markup.